What, in your view, is the gender wage gap? We'll touch on it super quickly.
How like doctors, like, I mean, there's like male doctors, but not really like male nurses. It's usually like women nurses. I feel like that's a wage gap.
There's a wage gap between male doctors and female doctors?
No, but like I think more women go towards like those fields of being like a nurse, and then men go more towards like a doctor. I feel like, I don't know how the hiring process is, but I feel like that's just like a society thing where like women feel like they have to do that instead of like being a doctor.
Well, just because I feel like the audience typically doesn't like the wage gap discussion, I'll just say this. So the social pressure, you're talking about the social pressure that like there's perhaps a like more push for men to like go into these more prestigious jobs like doctor versus nurses. If you recall going around the table, actually, before I bring that up, do you want a guy to pay for the first date? You got to be really careful, man. Yes, do you want a guy to pay for the first date?
Did he ask me?
Do you ask guys out?
I could.
Oh, I don't care if you could, do you?
I never have before, but it doesn't say that I could.
Exactly, thank you. You've never done it before. You've never done it before. So of all the first dates you've been on, how many first dates have you been on? Can we focus a little bit on the...
I don't date too often, but on the first dates, usually the man pays.
Change the split. So, okay, how many first dates have you been on?
I don't know.
You guys, what are you guys doing, man? You guys keep getting up at the table? What's...
I'm discussing
Sorry, what?
I'm discussing like where we're staying.
Okay. Yeah. So how many first dates have you been on?
I have no idea.
10, 20, 30, 40?
I don't know. I don't really date that much. If I ballpark
Dating would
over...
include like going over to the guy's house and fucking him. Not like, oh, we went to dinner to Nobu.
It doesn't make a difference. Let's not. I just don't really date like that. First dates, maybe 10 total.
Okay, and you didn't ask the guys out
No.
for any of them. Okay, so all the first dates you've been on, did the guy pay for the first dates?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about you?
Yeah, I think men should pay.
For the first date?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think men should pay for the first date?
I think if they ask you, they should pay, but
Sure.
I've paid one time before.
And do you ask guys out on first dates?
I guess I did.
That one time.
Yeah.
But all the other first dates, how many first dates have you been on?
4.
4. Okay. 4 first dates. That's it? You've only been on 4 first dates?
Yes.
Okay. And like, what about just like hangouts or whatever? Maybe you don't
I
consider
don't
those
really.
dates.
I don't think those are like dates.
So 75% of the dates you have been on, the guy paid for it.
Yes.
For it. Okay. Who should pay on the first date?
Who asked who out? I think whoever initiates the date, or it should go 50-50. I think relationships are all about 50-50.
All about 50-50. Of all how many first dates have you been on?
Couple.
10, safe to say?
Yeah, safe to say. Probably
Okay.
more. But
Did you ask them out?
the
First
ones who
date,
I
first date.
asked out, I asked if they wanted me to pay or if they wanted to go 50-50. Usually we end up just paying for like if we're out to coffee, they pay for their coffee, I pay for my coffee, and we're both like set.
Have you ever paid for a guy fully?
Yes.
On the first date?
Yes.
Not like your boyfriend who you've been dating for...
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Like
So
I
you
was-
asked him out?
For instance, I was interested in this guy. We matched on Tinder. We went on a date. We went out and we got food together. He was like, "Do you want me to pay?" And I was like, "No, it's okay. I initiated this and I paid."
Okay, of all
I'm
the first
financially
dates...
comfortable,
Sure.
so it's not an issue.
More often than not, has the guy paid for the date?
Usually because they insist, but I always say I will pay for whatever. It's
Sure.
it's
To
really
be
up
polite.
to
And you said whoever asked should pay. Of all the first dates you've been on, did you...
I don't usually ask
You don't
for the
ask.
first date. I don't usually ask.
So whoever asked should pay.
However, any date I offer 50-50, I pay, they
Right.
pay.
Have
we
you
talk
ever asked a
about
guy out?
it. Have I?
Just
Yeah.
that one time?
Really just that one time, honestly.
And all the other times the guy asked you out? Okay. What about you? Should men pay for the first date?
I mean, I would prefer it, but I wouldn't
Okay. What about you?
I'd say 50-50 on the first date.
So you've never, how many first dates have you been on?
3.
Did you ask the guys out in any of those instances?
No.
They asked you out?
Yeah.
Who paid for the date?
They did.
But what, hold on. You just said it should be 50-50, but why didn't you insist on paying?
They insisted.
Oh,
I
okay.
I tried to say like 50-50, but
Sure you did. You actually like insisted on 50-50?
yeah. I make my own money, so
Okay. Okay. Who should pay on first dates?
The man.
Oh, no, you? Do you want to like scoot into the table and be present and talk into the microphone?
Hello. I don't know. It depends. If you feel like paying, and you have the money to, and you're not going to expect something back from me for it, then sure, pay.
Okay, how many first dates have you been on? Can you speak into the mic?
I have been on like 3, 4. I'm not sure.
Okay. Who asked who out?
Usually I get asked out.
Okay, so for 3 of the 4, 4 of the 4, all of them?
All of them.
All of them. Okay. And then of those 4 first dates that you've been on, who paid for them? You or the guy?
Sometimes me. Or one time me. And
Okay,
then 3 times the guy.
Those of you who like have a preference for men paying for the first date, let's say you were on a first date with the guy, and the waiter comes, it's the end of the dinner, whatever, and the guy says 2 checks, please. Is there going to be a second date?
Depends on how it went. I would prefer not to pay for it, but it depends on how the date went itself.
Let's say it was like okay.
Then no, probably not.
Huh?
I said no, probably not.
There wouldn't be a second date.
Correct.
Okay.
Nope, there would not be. It's not even just about the money. It's like I'm looking for someone that can like, I'm not just saying support, but be there in like a traditional way. So I just feel like in that.
Traditional. Okay, we'll get into that in just a moment. But so no, there would not be a second date if the guy wanted to go 50-50.
Nope.
I see. Okay. What about you?
If he asked me out and he did that,
He asked you out.
I'm going to say no because I feel like he doesn't like me then.
Okay. What about you?
Did we discuss payment at all?
So I'll say this. He asked you out, but there wasn't like a discussion of like, I'm going to pay, you're going to pay. He just like, the waiter comes and he's just like, oh, two separate checks, please.
I think that's fine as long as I enjoyed. I think that's fine as long as I enjoyed the date.
Okay,
you know?
sure.
Yeah, I'd consider it if the date went well.
But it would be slightly a detriment.
Again, if the date went well, I'd definitely consider it. Yeah.
Well, he said the date was like not super.
Oh,
good.
if the date was shit.
That's what you said. to me
No,
when
I
asked.
think I said it was like average, above average. It wasn't like, oh my
Above
God, your
average.
mind is
above
blown.
average. Yeah.
It
I'd
wasn't
definitely
like,
do it again.
oh my God, this guy is the man of my dreams. But it wasn't like, oh, he was like a nice guy. He's attractive. But like, you're not like, oh my, freaking out about how amazing he is.
I think I would. Yeah.
Okay. What about you? Clearly. So, you need me to repeat the question?
Sure.
Cool. So, the guy says 2 checks. Would there be a second date? And he asked you out.
Depends.
I know it depends. You want to just answer the question?
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
There'd be a second date. Okay, that's fine. Des, would there be a second date? The guy asks you out and he says 2 checks, please, to the waiter.
Yeah.
Meaning you have to pay. Okay. So there's a bit of mixed responses here. Some of you said no, absolutely not. There wouldn't be a second date. Some of you said yes, wouldn't be a major issue. Maybe slightly. You'd prefer the guy to pay, but you'd still go on a date with him. So as it relates to the gender wage gap, and there's actually, look, it's been debunked by economists, by female economists even, totally debunked. But couldn't we explain it away completely? So in a couple different dimensions. The gender wage gap itself, but then also men's higher propensity to occupy these positions of power. Women are attracted to men who have status, men who have success. So couldn't it be women's own dating preferences that actually creates the very system that you're trying to fight against? We have multiple women here who said, if the guy doesn't pay for the first date, that's it. He's not getting laid. He's not getting sex. He's not getting a relationship. It's a dead end for those men. The same does not apply to women. No men can dictate to women, if you don't pay for me, I'm not you. Said no man ever. That's not how it works. Now, maybe there's some like one crazy example, some dude who's like, what the fuck, you asked me out and you're not paying. Okay, I'm not going to fuck you. You're not getting dick. Maybe that happens. The reality is women's own preference and women's own mating and social pressure that all of you, maybe not, well, not when I say all of you, all of women collectively enforce upon men, the gender wage gap would be explained. The fact that there's more men who are CEOs, the fact that there's more men who occupy positions of that pay better or that are of higher status, because your status as women doesn't matter. You'll still be able to date men, and your status is irrelevant. In fact, your status and your money can in some ways be a detriment because, well, I'm not going to get into that, but it can be a detriment or it can just be neutral. But no guys are like, oh, wow, she's got a lot of status. I'm more attracted to her. It's not the case. Men don't prioritize your finances. They don't prioritize your money. They don't prioritize your status. And the reality is, one of the reasons we don't do that is because you guys are not sharing your resources with men the same way men share our resources with y'all. Like, men will take you on dates, we'll buy you stuff. You guys don't really operate that way when it comes to men. Like, a woman who's making a lot of money, I'm not thinking like, oh great, okay, she's gonna just like simp and pay for dates and like financially support me. No.
Actually, I have.
I get it that there's like sugar mamas out there. It happens, but I'm talking in generalities here. So while, yeah, it does happen that there are sugar mamas out here. I mean, you can even look at all the panelists' responses here. They're like, no, if the man doesn't pay, there's not gonna be a second date. So it's just like, you guys enforce this upon men. Men are just simply more motivated to make money and be successful than y'all are, because it's not gonna prevent you guys from getting a boyfriend, from getting sex, from getting a relationship as it pertains to your money and success and status. But it impacts men's ability to do that substantially. And so it would be explained away entirely, the gender wage gap, and men, there's more male CEOs because y'all motivate us and reward those types of men. It's a social pressure and mating pressure that women put on men. It's not like some patriarchal societal like sexism. Oh, we're going to keep women down and not pay them as much. No, men are highly, highly motivated by date. Like, I mean, both men and women are motivated by like getting a girlfriend, getting married, having kids. This is probably for most people their primary motivation in life. I want to have kids. I want to find a great partner. What's going to increase your chances as a man of getting sex, getting a girlfriend, getting a wife, and having kids? Being rich and successful. It's not the same for women. So, yeah. Gender wage gap.
I do see
I think
that.
all of us would maybe agree. I mean, I
Yeah,
agree with
yeah.
that.
I feel like
your
men
point.
definitely have a lot
I
of
see your
pressure
point.
to.
Do I think that it's like cool? Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I see your point.
Well, who were the
completely.
ones that voted against what was it, equality?
I'm not super sure what you're talking about, but
Like where this stemmed from? Because you're trying to make a point, but I think we all agree with that.
Yeah, she's saying that there's like this gender wage gap, and what I think a lot of feminists and what she and perhaps other women at the table would say is that the gender wage gap is due to some like societal sexism against women that's either patriarchal or something like this. And it's like, well, actually, could it be the case that the gender wage gap is explained away simply by women's own massive, like I can't explain this more to a greater degree, the massive social and mating pressure that women unilaterally direct towards men when it comes to finances. that would be sufficient enough explanation for why a wage gap exists, because again, it's not redirected at women. Like, y'all can get dick, y'all can get a boyfriend, y'all can get married, y'all can have kids, and your money really isn't that important. Like, if you're an attractive woman and you're broke or you work at Chick-fil-A, a guy's gonna pick you. But if you're a dude and you're broke, I'm not saying all women, but there's enough women in the dating marketplace that have this position that it's like, as we went around the table, some women were like, yeah, I don't, if the guy wants to go 50-50, I don't really care. But if, like, say 50%, I think 50% of the women at the table were like, oh yeah, it's going to be a deal breaker if he doesn't pay for the first date. That in and of itself, even though it's not all women, it's enough women that it's going to create this massive social and mating pressure on men to be like, okay, I'm going to be like super successful, so I'm more attractive to women. I'm going to make a lot of money, so I'm more attracted to women. This pressure is unilateral. It only goes from women to men. It doesn't go in the reverse. So this would explain like one of the reasons why there's a wage gap, but there's other factors that would entirely explain the way too.